You're stronger for it. See, the real power doesn't come from avoiding the pain. It comes from what you do with it. They thought they could break you, that they could shatter you into pieces. But what they didn't understand is that every single piece is a part of the foundation you're building. Brick by jagged brick, you're reconstructing yourself into something they can't even begin to comprehend. They laughed when you fell. They thought they had won. What they didn't see is that every wound they left behind is fuel, feeding a fire inside you that burns hotter with every insult, every betrayal. And one day, they'll look at you, standing tall, unshakable, and realize they didn't destroy you. They made you stronger, stronger than they ever imagined. And that's what scares them. People like that, they thrive on power. They want control. They push you down, not because you're weak, but because they're scared. Scared of what you could become if you ever realize that their cruelty doesn't define you. Their words, their actions, none of it matters. Not when you finally stop letting it live in your head. That's the moment you become untouchable. Life's a game, but not everyone plays fair. Some will cheat, lie, and steal just to stay on top. They'll see your kindness as weakness and your silence as surrender. But the truth they don't know is that it takes immense strength to stay quiet, to endure. Each time they knock you down, you're not being broken. You're sharpening your edges, becoming something they can't handle. Think of a cornered wolf. It doesn't whimper or cry. It waits, watches, and when the time comes, it fights like hell, with nothing to lose and everything to gain. That's what you're becoming, a wolf in a world full of sheep. Don't let their poison change you. Don't let it make you bitter or turn you into something you're not. Forgiveness? It's not about letting them off the hook. It's about cutting the chains they've tied around your soul. It's about freeing yourself, because they'll carry their cruelty long after you've let it go. One day, when they're alone, they'll feel the weight of it, and it'll haunt them more than it ever hurt you. Here's the truth. Strength isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up every damn time. It's about staring the world in the face and saying, "Is that all you've got?" They'll throw everything at you. They'll try to tear you down again and again. But every time they do, you'll get back up. And every time you rise, you'll scare them just a little more. You're not their victim. You're not their puppet. You're the fire they can't put out, the storm they can't predict. And one day, when they look back, they'll realize that everything they did to you wasn't your end. It was your beginning. Life's funny that way, isn't it? The very thing they thought would break you is what sets you free. They tried to bury you, not knowing you were a seed. So stop wasting your energy on anger or revenge. Don't give them that satisfaction. Instead, build something so strong, so unshakable, that their words become nothing but background noise. When they come crawling back, and trust me, they will, don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you hurt. Let them see your indifference. Let them know that they no longer have power over you. That's the ultimate revenge. Every scar you carry tells a story, but it doesn't define you. Every sleepless night, every tear shed, it's all part of the process. You're not broken. You're becoming. And when you stand on top of the world, you'll realize that they didn't hurt you. Not really. They shaped you. So stand tall. Dust yourself off. Look in the mirror and see what I see. A warrior, a survivor, a force to be reckoned with. Because what they did to you will haunt them more than it ever hurt you. And you? You'll be too busy rising to care. Here's the thing. The world doesn't care about fair. Fair's a bedtime story. People will cheat and lie, sharpening their knives while you sleep. But kindness? Kindness is powerful, just not in the way they expect. Kindness doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It means knowing when to stay quiet, when to let their noise bounce off you like raindrops on steel. You don't owe them anything, not an explanation, not forgiveness, not even your time. You owe yourself. You owe yourself the chance to rise above their cruelty and build something they can't touch, can't destroy. The truth is, they tried to break you because they saw something in you that scared them. They saw your strength, your light, and instead of being inspired, they were threatened. So they tried to snuff you out. But here's the kicker. The harder they hit you, the brighter you'll burn. Every piece of pain, every betrayal, it's just fuel for the fire. And in the end, when they look at you, they'll see you for what you really are. A masterpiece, not in spite of the cracks, but because of them. It's like kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold. They don't hide the cracks. They highlight them. The damage is turned into something beautiful, stronger than it was before. That's you. You're becoming a masterpiece, not despite the pain, but because of it. Is it easy? Hell no. It's not supposed to be. But with every step, the chains will get lighter. And one day, you'll look back and realize the chains are no longer holding you back. They're just a memory. Why you? Because you have something they don't. Strength, resilience, whatever you want to call it. They saw it, and they were afraid. People only attack what they fear or envy. And it's going to hurt. It's going to feel unfair. But you know what's worse? Wasting your life trying to make sense of their cruelty. Some people are just broken. They don't need a reason to hurt others. But that's their burden, not yours. Take that pain, that anger, that sadness, and turn it into power. Not the cheap, fleeting power they chase, but real power. The kind that comes from surviving. From knowing that no matter what they throw at you, you'll keep going. When you reach the top, and you will, don't waste your breath proving them wrong. Prove yourself right. Prove that you were always capable, always enough, no matter what they said or did. Life's not about being unbroken. It's about learning to live with the cracks. It's about turning every scar into a badge of honor. Every failure into a stepping stone. Let them think they broke you. Let them think they won. While they're celebrating your downfall, you'll be quietly rebuilding. And when they look up, they'll see you standing taller than ever. But here's the thing. They'll never admit they were wrong. They'll never apologize. That's not how people like that work. So don't wait for closure that'll never come. Create your own. You're not here to live for their approval. You're here to live for you. Stop letting their actions dictate your worth. Stop letting their words echo in your head. You're more than their opinions. You're more than their cruelty. And one day, when they're lying awake at night, haunted by the weight of their own actions, you'll be sleeping peacefully. Because you'll know that their hate didn't destroy you. It built you. So, kid, what will it be? Are you going to let them win? Or are you going to take everything they threw at you and turn it into the foundation for something they can't touch? The choice is yours. Now that you've got a foundation stronger than anything they'll ever understand, don't get too comfortable. Don't think for a second that the fight is over. It's never over. Life will keep testing you, pushing you, seeing how much you can take. And you'll keep answering, because that's who you are. That's what you do. Want a real example? Think about mountains. Massive, unyielding, seemingly unmovable. But they didn't start that way. They began as cracks in the earth, pushed up by forces so powerful, so relentless they had no choice but to rise. That's you. You're the mountain, rising from the chaos, unyielding, unstoppable. And the people who tried to break you? Oh, they'll see it. It'll eat away at them, like rust on metal. Because nothing haunts a person more than the realization that their worst couldn't destroy someone else's best. But let's get this straight. This isn't about revenge. Revenge is poison. It eats you from the inside out. This is about freedom. Freedom from their control, their lies, their influence. You're not here to live in the shadow of what they did to you. You're here to cast your own light. And let me tell you something about light. It's not always gentle. Sometimes it's blinding, scorching, unforgiving. That's the kind of light you're meant to shine. The kind that forces people to see you for who you really are, whether they like it or not. Now, don't get me wrong. There will be days when it feels like the darkness is winning. Days when you want to give up, when the weight of it all feels too much. And on those days, remember this. The darkness isn't your enemy. It's your ally. The darkness is where you've been forged, where you've grown, where you've learned to survive. It's not something to fear, it's something to embrace. Because without it, the light means nothing. Without it, you wouldn't be who you are. You're not just surviving, you're evolving. Every scar is a lesson. Every setback is a stepping stone. One day, you'll look back and realize that everything they did to hurt you only made you stronger. And you'll see it in their eyes too. The flicker of regret, fear, realization. They'll know they didn't break you. They'll know they fueled you. And that's the sweetest victory of all. But when you start to rise, when you start to shine, they'll try to pull you back down. Not because they hate you, but because they hate themselves. They see in you everything they lack. Courage, resilience, strength, and it terrifies them. Don't waste your time trying to make them understand. Don't waste your breath explaining yourself. You don't owe them that. The only person you owe anything to is yourself. Here's the truth. You're not here to prove them wrong. You're here to prove yourself right. To show yourself that you were always capable, always worthy, always enough. I know you've been replaying everything they said, everything they did. I can see it. The way it eats at you, claws at your insides. But let me tell you something. Those memories, they're not shackles. They're lessons. Imagine a blade. The finest blade isn't born perfect. It's hammered, beaten, shaped by fire. Do you think the steel cries about the heat? Number it endures. And when it emerges, it's sharper, deadlier, unbreakable. That's you. The fire they put you through? It wasn't your end. It was your forge. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why me? Why did they choose me? I'll tell you why. Because you were strong enough to take it. They saw something in you that threatened them. And instead of stepping up, instead of facing their own demons, they chose to tear you down. It's cowardice, plain and simple. But you? You're no coward. You took their punches, their lies, their betrayal, and you're still here, still standing. And that scares them more than anything, because they know deep down they could never survive what you've endured. Ever heard the saying, hurt people hurt people? It's true, but it's not an excuse. What they did to you wasn't about you. It was about them. Their insecurities, their failures, their emptiness. They lash out because it's easier to break someone else than fix themselves. But you don't let your pain become poison. You don't let your scars define you. You take that pain and use it. You turn it into strength, into fire, into a force so unstoppable that nothing, No words, no actions, not even their memories can hold you back. Think about a seed. You bury it in the dirt, surrounded by darkness. You'd think that's the end, right? But it's not. That seed uses the darkness, uses the dirt to grow. It pushes through, inch by inch, until it breaks the surface and reaches for the light. That's you. They tried to bury you, thought the darkness would swallow you whole. But instead, you're using it. You're growing. You're becoming. And one day, you'll stand so tall, so strong, that the very people who tried to bury you will be forced to look up and see what you've become. But don't let that day be about them. Let it be about you, about the strength you found, the battles you fought, the victories you've won. You don't need their validation. You don't need their apologies. What you need is to look in the mirror and see someone you're proud of. And don't think for a second this journey will be easy. It won't. There will be days when the weight feels unbearable, when the voices in your head scream louder than ever. But on those days, remember this. You've already survived so much. You've already overcome so many battles. What's one more? The world isn't fair. It never has been. But fairness doesn't build strength. Adversity does. Struggle does. Pain does. And you've had your fair share of all three, so don't waste it. Every tear you've cried, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, it all adds up. It all shapes you, hardens you, refines you. And one day, you'll look back and realize that what they did to you didn't break you. It built you. But here's the thing. Strength isn't just about enduring. It's about growing. It's about taking what you've been through and using it to create something better. For yourself, for the people you care about. And when they see you, when they see the life you've built, the person you've become, it'll hit them like a freight train. The realization that they didn't defeat you, they didn't destroy you, that if anything, they made you stronger. But don't let that be your focus. Don't live your life for the sake of proving them wrong. Live it for the sake of proving yourself right, for the sake of becoming the person you were always meant to be. You're not here to survive. You're here to thrive, to rise above the ashes, to take every setback, every heartbreak, and turn it into fuel. Because what they did to you, it will haunt them more than it ever hurt you. And you'll be too busy living, too busy building, too busy becoming. Remember this, the greatest revenge isn't anger, it isn't hate, it's living well. It's building a life so full, so unshakable, that their worst becomes nothing but a footnote in your story. You've got this. Every single word I've said isn't just for show. It's the truth. The kind of truth that stings, the kind that doesn't go down easy. But you don't need easy, do you? Easy's for the weak. Easy's for the ones who give up at the first sign of trouble. You've faced hell and made it through. You've been shattered into pieces and still found a way to hold yourself together. You've walked through fire, and even though it burned, you came out stronger. But let's get real for a second. That strength you've got, it's not just for you. It's for everyone who's ever been where you are, feeling what you've felt, thinking they're alone. You're proof they're not. You're proof that no matter how bad it gets, no matter how deep the scars run, it's possible to rise again. Be that proof, be that light, not for them, for you, because you deserve it. And when that day comes, when you're standing at the top of the mountain they said you'd never climb, you won't think of them. You won't feel anger or hate or bitterness. You'll feel peace. Because you'll know in your heart that you didn't just survive. You thrived. You didn't just endure. You became unstoppable. Build a life so loud, so unshakable, that their silence becomes deafening. Live so boldly, so unapologetically, that their whispers fade into nothingness. Because what they did to you, it'll haunt them more than it ever hurt you, and you'll be too busy living to notice.